Dear friends, good evening and welcome to our Interfaith Dialogue series where we reflect on the question, what resources does my religion have to foster peace at the individual and community levels, especially in the face of a culture of hate? Our speaker for today will be Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Javed. And to introduce him, we have our moderator, Sister Marina Brahmane of the Holy Spirit Congregation. She has done her doctorate in English at Nagpur University and is an assistant professor here at St. Vincent College of Commerce. I invite her now to welcome and introduce Mr. Javed to the audience.
Thank you, Father. Our speaker for this evening, as Father said, is Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Javed. He hails from Raichur, Karnataka. He has graduated in electronics and has done 2 MAs, one in nuclear energy and physics and sociology. He has done courses in Arabic and Islamic studies from CRSG, Aligarh. He has written over 300 articles on various topics, dealing with secular and Islamic topics in Urdu and English, which have been published in national and international magazines and forums. He heads AJ Academy of Research and Development as a director. This academy is engaged in schools development, management, and parents training. He has conducted teachers' scientific orientation programs and research-based programs for school students. Around 300 teachers and 250 students are engaged in presenting 200 research-based projects. He has also organized parents' training programs. I now request Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Javed to present the Islamic view on our topic, what resources does my religion have to foster peace at individual and community levels, especially in the face of a culture of hate?
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this online session. The topic chosen for the online session is very much required for all of us. As an individual or as a part of the society, we all need peace. So now the question is how we can ensure peace at individual as well as collective levels. So I appreciate the efforts of Sneha Sadan along with the Institute for the Study of Religion and St. Vincent College of Commerce, that they have organized many sessions on this topic and have invited many scholars from different religions to present their views. I think this is a very commendable effort. We appreciate and we extend our heartfelt contribution, cooperation, and we expect that you guys will continue to strive for this noble cause. As we Indians are living in a plural society, wherein we find that there are many religions. We have varied cultures and traditions. So in this backdrop, we need to understand each other so that we can live together and cooperate with each other. So coming together is the beginning for a great achievement. And for coming together, we should understand the commonness that we have in our religions. And this is one of the striking, mean of getting engaged with each other and knowing what actually our religion guides us and how it guides us and on different aspects. As you know, the topic, the focal point of the topic is peace. So we should understand how peace can be attained at the individual as well as collective levels. So as for my understanding is concerned through the teachings of Islam, that what I've understood is quite interesting. You might find very astonishing too, that it has got two different aspects. One is at the individual level and another one is at societal level. So what I mean is if a person is finding peace and he is very comfortable and he finds that he is very much content with what he has got, so that person can enjoy peace in the society. For example, if a person is healthy, he can enjoy the outer world, he can enjoy the food, he can enjoy the atmosphere, everything. If a person is ill, nothing can be appreciable for him because he has got some lacuna within. So because of that, he can't appreciate the food, the taste and the smell and everything. So when we speak of peace, or when we stress on the need of peace in the society, we are actually emphasizing the need of an individual to understand the peace within. The Islam says that if a person is very comfortable at his own level, he can be a source for promoting peace at different levels. The Prophet has said that if you are having these three qualities, what he said was, Man asbaha minkum aminan fi sirbihi, if you wake up in the morning with the peaceful one, wo mu'afan fi jasadihi, and you are healthy, your body is very healthy, indahu quta yawmin, and you have 1 day provision. If any person has got three things, one is that he is waking up in the morning with a peaceful mind, another one he is having a healthy body, and third one he has got just 1 day provision. I'm not speaking of the huge amount of wealth, just 1 day provision. The Prophet says if any person is having these three things, it is as if it is as if the whole world with all its belongings is at his doorsteps. Whole world. So what we feel is peace is a particular quality related with our inner self. So this is one thing. In order to understand peace, we should focus on these two different aspects. One is the individual and another one is the society. Now, if you translate it in other words, it becomes that the peace is something which comes from the inner world to the outer world. Come from the inner world to the outer world. This is one aspect of peace. And another one is that we are living on earth and we know what we have on earth. Above us, there is a huge sky. Heavens are there. Celestial bodies are there. And they are moving with, huge speeds. They are having enormous energy. They have tremendous amount of light. Everything is there. And every body has got tremendous, expanse of its area. But to our surprise, there exists a remarkable peace over there. We don't find any indiscipline. We find that the sun is rising and setting at its own time, the waxing and waning of the moon. And we all know that the sun and the moon and the earth, every celestial body and the planet on orbit and around the galaxies. The speed is very huge and very horrible, you can say. The sun rotates, moves around the galaxy at a speed of 200 kilometers per second, whereas Earth rotates at around 30 kilometers per second. So this is the speed of rotation or the movement. But in spite of that, we find that their movement are very precise, and they are followed by divine principles in one way. So we can conclude that there exists peace because they follow a set rules. Sun can't rise or set on its own. It has to abide by certain laws, and those laws have been set by the Creator. The Quran says, "Walau kana fihima aliha illallahu lafasada." Had there been more gods than one, there would have been destructions. You will never find such a discipline had there been more than one God. This is what the Quran says. So you can conclude the second aspect of peace as the reflection of outer world towards this the inner world that we are living on. Self-reflection on earth, on a society, is what we call a society, peace at the society, and reflection of the heavens on earth is what we call as the peaceful earth. So from inner world to the outer world, from the outer world to the inner world. So this is how we can understand the philosophy of peace, the concept of peace. Now the question arises, how we can understand this in a pure form as a human. We all know that as a human, we appreciate the existence of God. We believe that there is a God, and we believe that he has sent down prophets from different time, different periods, and they have guided humanity towards the right path. So how we can conclude that the concept of peace, which I've been explained here, is true to its definition, true to its concept. So the prerequisites are very important to understand this concept. The Islam presents two important prerequisites. There are many, but I'm cutting short my discussion. There are two main prerequisites. One is that if you have faith in your God, then you can enjoy peace. If you have eyes, you can enjoy colors. A blind person can't enjoy colors. Similar is the case of peace. If you have belief of God in your heart, you can enjoy the peaceful atmosphere, the serene atmosphere that you are finding around you. The Quran says, "Allazina amanu," those who believe, "walam yalbisu imanuhum bizulmin," and those who have not contaminated their belief with different things. For them, there is a peace. So to enjoy peace, we should have belief in one God, and we should not contaminate this concept of one God. This is the first and the foremost prerequisites to enjoy peace. The second one, there should not be any disparity between the inner self and the outer self, between words and actions. What I am to myself should be to the world. There should not be any disparity. If disparity exists, the peace vanishes, comfort vanishes. So Islam very clearly emphasizes these two important things as a prerequisites of peace. Now coming to the definition of Islam that we follow. Islam has been derived from the root word salam, that means peace or submission, you can say. So Islam is a process of submission. You are submitting to the will of God, you are submitting to the wish of God, and you became a Muslim. So you can say, as a Muslim, we are the peacekeepers. We are the embodiment of peace, because we have submitted ourselves to the will and wish of God. And this is the first and foremost prerequisite, that we should have faith in a God, faith in a Creator. So the one who has got faith in the Creator can be a symbol of peace. Now, going ahead, you can find that since Islam means peace and Muslim means a peacekeeper or embodiment of peace, so there are many instructions which have been enlisted in Quran and Hadith. Hadith means the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We regard this as Sharia, or the way of life, both Quran and Sunnah. Quran means the book revealed by God, and Sunnah means the traditions, the sayings, the actions, the words of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. If you club these two, it becomes Sharia. That's what we follow. We follow according to the Sharia, we follow according to the Quran and Sunnah. So in Quran and Sunnah, it has been categorically denounced those things which are detrimental to the peace. Now you can see here, no disorder. The God doesn't like that one should strive for spreading disorder on earth. He says that La tufsidu fil ardi ba'da islahiha. Do not spread mischief on earth, as earth has been clean from all forms of mischief. It has been set in an order. You can find mountains, you can find rivers, you can find oceans, forests, deserts, human habitations. There are many things on earth. So it has been placed with a plan. La tuksirul mizan, in a surah, you should not disturb the balance which God has maintained on earth. And then protection of human dignity. Since peace is meant for the humans, we are not establishing peace in forest or in desert area. We are establishing peace in society, and a human can experience the peaceful atmosphere. So the main agency for establishing peace or upholding peace is human being. So Islam lays a lot of stress on this aspect of human dignity. Man is most honorable being in the sight of God. He has created many things. As I said about the celestial objects, they're also creations of God. But the noblest of the creatures is human being. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. The God says that we have honored the children of Adam. We all are children of Adam. The God says that we have honored children of Adam. وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. We have provided them with the facilities of doing everything, both on land and sea. So this is the way Islam explains the human dignity. And the protection of human dignity becomes one of the most important teaching of the Quran. Here the Quran says, "Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin aw fasadin fil ard, faka'annama qatala an-nasa jami'an." If you are killing a human without any reasons, there might be some reasons, and we all know that in different parts of the world there are certain laws. Based on those laws, killings of humans are legal. We all know that one. So barring that one, if anyone kills just for the sake of self-satisfaction or vain desires, it is as if he has killed the whole humanity. Just see the equation. God says, "Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin aw fasadin fil ard, faka'annama qatala an-nasa jami'an." If you are killing a human without any reason, it is as if you are killing the whole humanity. Killing of a person has been equated with the killing of whole humanity. Similar is the case of protection of a human being. وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. If you protect one person, if you become a source of life for a single person, it is as if you have saved the entire humanity. If anyone understands this logic, he can definitely can become an ambassador of peace. And then the Quran says that your behavior should not be dependent on others' behavior. If they're doing good, you are doing good. If they are bad, you are becoming bad. No, you should follow the instructions of your Creator, your God. You should not follow the instructions of other persons or the behavior of other persons. He says in the Quran, "Wala yajrimannakum shara'anu qawmin ala alla ta'dilu." You should not, budge. You should not move away from your path just because people are expressing their animosity. People are hating you. They have become your enemy. Just because of that, you should not move from your right path. You just stick on the right path. and be good to them. Be just. God says that "I'dilu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa." Be just, do justice. It is next to God fearing. Again, you can see the inner self has been equated with the outer world. If you have fear of God, you can be just to persons. You can be just to human beings. If you don't have any fear of God, you can't be just to other persons. So these are the precautions that have been explained in the Quran. Now the second set of three things are regarding the ahadith or the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He says that you are a Muslim only when others are safe with your with your tongue and hands. Prophet says when he was asked whose Islam is best, he said, "Man saliban nasu min lisani wa yadihi." The Islam of that person is best from whose tongue and hands others are safe. Other human beings are safe. I am not a Muslim if I am hurting others with my tongue and hands. Talk of terrorism, just a simple form of oppression that I'm disturbing someone with my hand, or I'm hurting someone with my tongue. It takes my iman, it takes my faith. I will not be a Muslim, the Prophet has said. And then he says that if you are communal, if you are having a kind of love towards your own people and you are not loving others, you have got a certain sectarian kind of thought, then you are not a Muslim. He says that you are not among us. Man da'a ila asabiyya falaysa minna. What he says, if you call towards communalism, if you call towards hatred, you are not amongst us. Right away, he has been discarded. He has been disregarded. He's calling people towards hatred. And then he says, you are a Muslim. It can be justifiable that you are a Muslim. It can be justified that you are a Muslim if your neighbor is good. If your neighbor is good and you treat your neighbors with your good manners. If your neighbor says that you are good, that means you are good. If your neighbor says that you are bad, means you are bad. La ya'munu jaruhu bawaka. What he says, you will not be a believer if the neighbor is not safe from your evils. If your neighbor is not safe from your evils, in that case, you are not a believer. You are not a Muslim. So there are many things. I have just summarized three things from the hadiths or the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and three things from the Quran. There are many things. So from these things, you can understand how Islam protects the peaceful atmosphere and how Islam prepares its followers to propagate peace, the ambassador of peace. Now, as you said, I should speak on how Islam fosters peace at individual levels, how Islam prepares an individual to be an embodiment of peace. As I said, the belief of faith is very vital aspect in order to gain peace or generate peace or establish peace. Without faith, without belief, the process of peace making is a kind of artificial, a kind of mechanical kind of thing. It will not last long. So what God says that you should have belief and you should try to refresh your belief time and again. You might be knowing that Muslims pray 5 times a day. What is the logic of praying 5 times a day? The logic is that one should refresh his iman because he lives in a society. He indulges in many things. There is a possibility that his faith might get contaminated. In order to purify his faith, it has been ordained to refresh his faith, and the best and possible, the practical way of refreshing faith is to offer prayers. We have been ordained to offer fight. So this is the first aspect. that Islam presents before us in order to foster peace at individual level. One should develop belief. How the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has said, when you offer prayer, you should pray with a particular bent of mind. You should be unifocus. Your concentration should be on your Lord. Anta abdullah ka annaka tarahu. Pray as if you're looking at your Lord. You might be surprised to know that we don't put any idols in mosque. There is nothing except carpets. We offer prayers on carpets. Nothing will be there as a reference before us or in front of us. But we have been ordained to prepare ourselves mentally by thinking that I'm standing before my Lord and I'm looking at him. If you don't feel that you are in a position to experience that you are looking at your Lord, think that your Lord is looking at you. Either of the two things should be there. Either you should think that you are looking at your Lord, or you should think that your Lord is looking at you. Just imagine if a person prays 5 times a day with this bent of mind that I'm looking at my Lord. So he will go around the world with the same bent of mind. And if anyone is having a concept, a belief that my Lord is with me, he will never commit any mistake, any crime, any sin. So this is the first thing. Second thing, I should be very much particular as far the likes and dislikes are concerned. I should appreciate others. I should like about others what I like for myself. So he says that you will not be a believer unless you love your brother what you love for yourself. Not liking my brother, whoever he may be or she may be, sister, brother or sister, I should like for her or him the same way as I like for myself. La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsik. The Prophet has said, you will not be regarded as a believer unless you love your brother or sister what you love for yourself. I love for myself. I know what I love. I love. Why I know everything that I like. The same should be for my brother or for my sister. If any disparity is there, my faith will get weaker. The Prophet has said. And third one, he says that you should be embodiment of peace because you are a believer in one God. You believe in his prophet and you believe in the day of judgment. So all these beliefs should make you a person of sound character, you can say. You are the best only when others expect about you in a very, people expect about you in a very, they are very much sure that you will not harm them. Good about you because you are a good person. If we lean on a wall, we rest on by taking the support of wall. Why? Because we believe that wall will not disturb us or wall will not take us down. Similar should be the case of a person if he believes in God, that he should not harm others. Everyone should rely on him and expect that he always do good. Again he says, be very much comfortable at your own self and provide comforts to other. Provide comforts to other. Provide ease for others. Do not put hardship. Give glad tidings. Give them good news. Be an ambassador of good news. So this has been said that you should be an embodiment. A person can become an embodiment of peace only when he is good to himself and there is no disparity between his words and actions. Then only he can be an ambassador a peace and noble characters, and he can be beneficial for the human beings. And then again, at the individual level, it has been ordained to promote virtues and eradicate evils. I know what is good and what is bad, and every human knows what is good and what is bad. See, the Islam promotes us to promote virtues. For it says, "Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf." You should ordain what is good. "Wa tanhauna 'anil munkar." You should refrain. You should prevent. You should prevent others from doing sins. Two words are very, different. They present different meanings or connotations. One is ordain, one is instruction, and another one is preventing. You prevent only when a person is very much cautious, his conscience is good, and you just gently remind him that what you are doing is not good. And if he is very gentle and he has got good conscience, definitely he will refrain from doing that bad thing. So that's why Quran says, "Yanhauna 'anil munkar, tanhauna 'anil munkar." You should prevent them from doing bad things. As for good things are concerned, he says, "Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf." You should ordain them to do good things because they know what is good and they know what is bad. God has created us with a pattern that distinguishes between good and bad. "Falhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha." We have given the criterion for heart to distinguish between good and bad. So as a human, we should remind them. We should remind them that this is good and this is bad. For good, we can stress because it is beneficial for them also. And for bad, we should tell them that this is your responsibility to refrain from the bad things. So if anyone adopt this strategy of promoting peace, promoting virtues and eradicating evils, then definitely he can be at peace and he can spread peace in the society. So spreading peace in the society, this is one of the major methodologies that you can adopt. And third, last one, he says that you should uphold the rights of human beings. You should not violate human rights. Things that disturb peace is what? Violation of rights. Violence is what? Violation of rights. So one should focus on discharging the duties, the assigned responsibilities, and one should focus on upholding the human rights. He says, the Prophet says, "Abdul Haqqalazi alaykum." As a human being and as a Muslim and as a believer in one God and his Prophet, it is your responsibility to discharge your duties, assigned duties. And your assigned duty is that you have been created for the human beings. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You have been raised for the humankind. The Muslim have been raised for the humankind, the Quran says. So it is their responsibility to uphold the human rights. And there is no question of whether they have power or not, whether they have resources or not. If they believe in God, they can do anything. Because God is above everything. Abdul Haqqalazi alaykum. Discharge your responsibilities. Uphold the rights of human beings. Wasalullah alazi lakum. And what you want, ask your Almighty. So it means what? The Quran and Hadith says, the Sharia says, if you are upholding the human rights, actually you are qualifying yourself to ask the Almighty. If you're not upholding the human rights, if you're not serving the human, that means you prayer is not just raising our hands and asking the Almighty to give this and that. Praying is actually a reward. Reward of what? Doing justice, establishing peace in the society, or making a society an abode of peace and prosperity and happiness. So these are the things that Islam suggests at individual levels. As well as for the collective levels are concerned, these are the things that one should dream of a God-oriented society. As I said, the peace revolves around the concept of God. Without God, there is no concept of peace. And without God, peace is very, it's a mirage, you can say. Without light, there is a darkness. Similar is the case of a peace or a peaceful society or healthy, progressive society. Without God, society is ignorant society. So that is why the Quran suggests that you should, as a human being, as a collective beings, as a society, you should dream of a God-oriented society, number one. And then you should define the definition of peace. How do you translate peace at society level? So there are two things. One is social stability and another one is economic stability. There are many things. There may be many things, but to be very precise, these two things are very important. One is social stability and another one is economic stability. If you ensure these two, definitely peace will prevail in the society. In Quran, the Almighty Allah says, "Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan wa ita'iz al qurba." God ordains you to do justice. Well, ihsan means doing things with perfection and excellence. If I offer 10 rupees to a beggar, it's a charity. If I offer a service to the beggar, it is ihsan. It is perfection. It's a perfect form of service, you can say. So the Almighty God says that you should establish justice in the society. You should do ihsan. You should do everything with perfection and excellence. And then you should uphold the rights of your relatives. If I focus on the rights of my relatives, my family will be very much contained. My family will be very much self-sustained. If every individual focuses on his family, the whole society will be self-sustained. We will not see any beggar on the roads. If you see a beggar on the road, it gives you a message that his family members are not cooperating with him or her. That's why he has come out of the four walls of his family, and we are finding him on the roads, on the streets, before a temple or church or mosque. The God says that you should uphold the rights of your relatives. And three things are there which have been described as that you should prevent yourself from doing those things. One is transgression. You should not go out of the limits, and you should not be very indecent, and you should not be going out of the way to perform your own rights. Be within the framework which God has prescribed for you, and discharge your duties. And then he says that you should be very much good to yourself, or as a member of the society, you should be good. You are good only when you are good to your society. Khairukum khairukum li ahli. The Prophet has said, you are good only when you are good to your family members. If I am good, only when I am good to my wife, my children, my father, my mother, my other relatives. So this way the circle grows, increases to my neighbors and to my society. The Quran says that you should be very much particular about your household activities. You should remain focused on yourself as well as your family members. And if your family is very intact and they are God-oriented and God-obeying, then definitely their reflection will come on the society, and society appears to be very peaceful. And then there are collective efforts, inter and intra-community. Muslims should strive together to make society peaceful, and they should join hands with others. It has been greatly emphasized that you should join hands with others. Ta'awanu alal birri wat taqwa. It's a common statement God has presented before us, that you should join your hands with everyone, provided they are doing good things. Ta'awanu alal birri wat taqwa. For God-fearing things and for good things, you should join, no matter which religion he follows or she follows. وَلَا تَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. وَلَا تَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. You should not cooperate with others in the matter of sins and animosity. For animosity, for hatred, for sins, for crimes, we should not cooperate. Barring these evils, if anyone is doing virtuous things, we should join. In Prophet's time, there was a league of virtues, Hilful Fuzul, league of virtues. Noble persons came together to form a league, a treaty in order to protect the human rights at that time. So Prophet has greatly appreciated that effort before his prophecy. And after he became the Prophet, again he said that even now, if anyone calls for that treaty, I will go and join. So it is an ideal of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to join hands with others. If they are doing good, if they are doing good things with good strategy, a good methodology, definitely we will join and cooperate with others. So these are the things that can foster peace at collective levels. As far the hatred is concerned, as you rightly pointed out, that the society in which we are living, hate seems to be very common, and hate seems we should focus on this thing in order to ensure peace at all levels. First of all, we should understand why a person resorts to hate or hatred attitude. See, if you have love of God, then you can't hate others. If you hate others, it means that you don't have love of God. If you have flower in your pocket, definitely you can smell, you can feel its fragrance. So how can a person loves God and hates human beings? So we regard hate as a mismatch to the human nature. Human nature stands for love. Human nature stands for love of God. Human nature stands for behaving human with the human beings. Number one. Second, as I said, it's a heart word of God's love. And in order to address the hate mongers, the best way is to perform things that are very good in a good manner. The Almighty Allah says that idfa billati hi ahsan. Before that, he says la yastabil hasnatu wala sayyi'ah. Good and bads are totally different things. They are diametrically opposite. Good cannot be equal to bad. They're totally different. Darkness and light, totally different. So he says that if a person is propagating hate, that means he is propagating darkness. You can't equate yourself with him. You are light. Spread light. Idfa billati hi ahsan, it means that you should you should deal with the hatred with the way that is very best. That is very excellent in nature. Then, if you do this one, then definitely you will see that the one who was hating you, then definitely will love you. The enemy will become your friend only when your approach is totally different, or your approach is God oriented, you can say. So this is one thing that we can keep in our mind. And another one is that the Prophet has said, unsur akhak, help your brother, zaliman aw Muslim, whether he is an oppressor or oppressed. Whether he is an oppressor or oppressed, in both the cases, you should help your brother. It means what? We should regard both oppressed and the oppressor as brother. We should hate their attitude, not them. But as said, unsur akhaka, help your brother, whether he is an oppressor or oppressed. So we can confirm, we can infer from this one the fact that the oppressor or the oppressed, both are our brothers. We should treat them as a brother. The Prophet, when the Prophet has said this, the companions asked how we can help the oppressed. So he says, hold his hand. Don't allow him to do oppression. So this is what we can do in this era of hate promotion. We can hold their hand. We can talk to them. We can have face-to-face discussion with them. We can sit together and discuss and understand how they perceive us and how they perceive the society. What actually they want to gain from promoting hate. We can discuss with them. This is how we can help them and make them a good human being. And again, the the thing that we should keep in our mind, that our behavior, our attitude should be independent, not dependent on others. If they are spreading hate, we should not spread hate. We should spread love in that case. So our role should be independent, not dependent. Yes, it should be dependent on the teachings of Quran and Sunnah, on the teachings of our Creator. Actually, we should see what actually He is advising us, what He is instructing us. And according to that, we should follow our path, not looking at the hate mongers. And again, the preferable thing is that we should not keep silence over the wrongdoings. You know, someone has said that it is not the operation of a few that disturbs the society. It is the silence of many that disturbs the society. We should not remain silent. It has been regarded as a form of your faith, as a reflection of your faith, as an outcome of your faith. If you have strong faith, your reaction will be different. If you have a weaker faith, your reaction will be different. The Prophet has said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi." If you see an evil, wipe that evil with your hand. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. If you don't have that capacity, you just prevent that evil from your tongue. Raise your voice. And even if you don't have that capacity, فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. Think in your heart that the evil is an evil. You should not enjoy what is going on. You should feel bad about that. So he says, "Zalika azaful iman." If you feel that evil is an evil, what's going on is bad in your heart, it means that you are having a weaker faith. Zalika azaful iman. You have a weaker faith. That is why you are feeling that bad in your heart. If you have a stronger faith, you go ahead and prevent that evil with your hand. So what I'm suggesting here is to address the hate mongers, we should come forward and talk to them. And we should understand how actually they are being motivated for that particular cause, and how they can be prevented. See, it's a greatest blessing of the Almighty that we have a majority of the Indians as peaceful persons. They love peace. They love mutual understanding. They love mutual living. They love mutual cooperation. The thing is that we should come forward in order to understand them, in order to make them understand what actually we want. So thank you very much for inviting me to this online session. Very much thankful to Sneha Sadam, the Institute for the Study of Religion, and St. Vincent College. An opportunity to tell what Islam says about peace and whatever you have mentioned in your topic. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or clarifications or additions, you can always add to the. You are always welcome. Thank you.
Friends, now the floor is open for your questions, clarification, ideas, or reflections. Kindly raise your hands, those who wish to ask the questions.
You can unmute by yourself and ask questions. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
See, the hatred, especially societal level hatred that is spread against a particular religion or a particular section of the community is not done on a spark of the moment. It is consistently meditated and followed systematically so that that particular action can be taken. So in this situation, how would you recommend the youngsters, especially the youngsters who are instrument in carrying out this destructive hate? What all things you can recommend these people or youngsters? How do you fight against, or how do you withstand such kind of consistent effort?
I think your question is a question of everyone, and every concerned citizen is thinking in that way, as you have explained through your question. So I would like to suggest to our youngsters that hate is not an answer. Hate is not a means for progress. Hate is something that takes us centuries behind. So instead of that, we should keep in our mind or the idea of India, how we want to see India develop in the coming days, and in what ways I can contribute. If we invite our youngsters towards the right thinking, towards the right path, and towards forming a lofty vision, that would be fine, and that will definitely have very positive impacts on the younger minds. So we should invite our youngsters to focus on contributing for the development of India. See, there are many gray areas, we can say, wherein we have not performed well. For example, these days we are hearing announcement from the Nobel Prize announcement committee that they are giving prizes to different individuals and group of scientists, and we don't find any mention of our India. So how long we can wait for that? So after Sir C.V. Raman, no Indian has won Nobel Prize in the field of science. No Indian-born scientist, no Indian scientist has won Nobel Prize in the field of science. There are many things. We can keep those things in mind and guide our students and use accordingly. And again, we should have a common platform wherein we can sit together and discuss the issues that we are facing. In a plural society, we should remind us time and again that in a plural society, you can't progress by, disregarding a particular community, by oppressing someone, by neglecting someone. As a whole, you should move. If you move as a whole, you look developed countries. They are moving as a whole. It's an irony that we are finding here in India that the hate is prevailing, but it will not prevail for a longer time. The many noble souls who are expressing their anger in this atmosphere here in India. So there are multiple fronts wherein we can focus. One is that we should organize our youths and students for some noble and lofty vision. And again, we should organize different followers of different religions on a single platform to sit together to discuss the issue that we are facing.
Thank you, sir.
Next, anyone want to ask a question? Kindly raise your hands, those who want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Father Jivendra.
Father, you have to unmute. You are not unmute. Yeah.
Sorry. One of the topics that you mentioned, the points that you mentioned, is about human dignity. What is the foundation of human dignity in Islam? And how do you convince people that we have the dignity? From where does it, from where does this dignity come from?
The one who has created human beings have said what human dignity is about. The Quran says that God has created human beings on a very selective pattern. That is why he has been regarded as superior creation. From all the creations, human beings are superior because they have been created in an excellent pattern. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. God says we have been created human beings on an excellent pattern. So you can confirm that excellent pattern by looking at the qualities, the characteristics that humans have. There are many things you can explain this in this regard. Number one, God has created human beings on his face. God doesn't have any face, but face represents power. Face represents qualities. Humans have got divine qualities. He is merciful, you can be merciful. There is a huge difference between God being merciful and human being merciful, but they are merciful. He is provider of sustenance, you can provide. He is a forgiver, you can forgive. So God has created human beings on his face. That means you can possess divine qualities. The Prophet has said, human beings have been created on the face of God. God doesn't have any face, but face represents here qualities. Number two, God has given heart to every human being that distinguishes between good and bad. And this is universal truth. Truths are truths, lies are lies. And if we speak the truth, everyone appreciates. If we speak lie, everyone will not appreciate. Why this is so? It is because God has given a heart to every human being that helps him understand what is good and what is bad. God has said. And third one, the important thing is that God has given knowledge to human beings. With the light of knowledge, they have entered the earth domain. God has said that we have taught the names of everything to the human, to Adam. Al-Asma, God says that Adam al-Asma kullaha. Al-Asma means the names. Names includes functioning also. If you know anything by its name, you will not be familiar with its functioning unless you focus on that one. Television, you know television by its name. Unless you are a scientist, unless you are a science student, you can't understand how a television works. Mobile, you know by its name, but you can't understand its functioning unless you are a scientist. But as far as the humans are concerned, God has given a special criterion for the human beings to understand the things. So all these things clubbed together magnifies the dignity of human beings. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have honored the human beings. Why? Because of these qualities. So the basis is God's instructions, God's words, which categorically explains that man has got superior qualities and he is different from other creatures.
Yes, thank you, sir. Next is Sanjeev Bhai. Sanjeev Bhai, please.
Yeah. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Very good evening, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you is, if it's a religion of tolerance, how do you reconcile to the fact, like you have beheadings and stoning to death in Saudi Arabia, Iran, many of these Islamic countries? Is this acceptable in Quran? And is this the law that the land, or is this something that is a diktat from the Quran? So,
See, things are very clear as far the Quran is concerned. For some particular sins, punishment have been the forms of punishments have been explained. Based on those explanations, few Islamic countries have adopted those laws, and like as you said, stoning of the rapist. That has been mentioned, and if you follow that one, it will create a kind of havoc in the society, a kind of fear in the society that no one will dare to commit that sin again. that crime again, because the person who has committed that crime has been stoned to death before his eyes. So you can understand the dignity of human that Islam portrays. Look at the capital punishment. Look at the apathy of the women, of womanhood, and protection of women's rights, etc., etc. As for beheading is concerned, I personally disagree with that one. I don't know how people are justifying beheading of persons. I'm not convinced with that.
Yeah, but that it is happening. People are being beheaded in Saudi
No,
Arabia.
we disregard those things which have not been mentioned in Quran and Sunnah. As far as the capital punishment of rapists is concerned, it is mentioned there, and we justify that one. Even many have said that one should have capital punishment over here so that we can prevent rapes.
No, that may be in the Sharia law. You're talking about Sharia laws, right?
Yeah.
Now, does the Sharia law conflict with the law of the land? Like, for example, in our constitution, there is no such thing, or Indian Penal Code, there is no such thing as stoning to death or beheading and all that. So, how do you sort of reconcile with the fact that this somehow the other?
No. Islam doesn't compel its followers to, put behind the law, land of the law, and go for the Sharia. They can, within the purview of Sharia, they can follow the land of the laws as we are following here in India. As for the framework of Sharia is concerned, within that Sharia, if any laws is there, we can definitely follow. Nothing is wrong about that.
No, what I wanted to say was, when there is too much of oppression, what happens is what's happening in Iran today. Most of these ladies there, the girls there, are discarding their niqab and burqas and chadars and all that. There's a tremendous amount of upheaval going on there. And right now, because they do not want the international community to see what's happening in Iran, they've cut all internet connections and you cannot see what's happening there. Because a lot of this thing was being posted on social media, and they were showing that niqab burning, and the women were cutting their hair and coming out open. Now,
See, as far the niqab or the veil is concerned, the things are very much clear. It has been explained at length how a woman can have her niqab. I'm not actually aware of the actual situation prevailing over there. What media presents here, I can't say that we can believe 100% that is right.
no,
So we are not sure what's going on over there. As far the principal stand is concerned, be it Iran or any other country, you are not you are not entitled to force a person to follow the rules of Islam. La ikraha fi din. The God has said that there is no compulsion in Islam. Islam is the whole laws. La ikraha fi din qad tabayyana rushdu min al-ghayy. Because why it is not compulsory? Why there is no compulsion? Because the things which are right and things which are wrong have been explained to you clearly. If you are willing, you just come forward and adopt it. If you are not willing, you can go ahead, no problem. If you are right or if you are wrong, you can say here in this world. But actually, what happens here is not final one. God says that if you believe that what you believe is right, okay, no problem. You can believe that. You have the authority to believe what you want. But as for the right and wrong is concerned, and the good is bad is concerned, we will come to know when we meet Allah. This is what we can say. It's a principal stand, you can say.
Okay, Mr. Sanjeev, thank you. Is there anyone more who would like to ask something or add their comments?
Any other questions?
We have now come to the end of this wonderful presentation. I want to thank Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Javed for his wonderful presentation. And while listening to him and the whole understanding of how to respond to violence and hatred with love, I was thinking of the whole teaching of Gandhiji on ahimsa. And I never realized there was so much of similarity. Thank you. That was an important point. I think one of the issues is always that while prophets have taught us different truths, while society evolves, our interpretation of those truths keep changing. And I think that is where the tension comes, the misunderstandings can come. I want to thank you very much for this enlightening presentation. I also want to thank Sister Marina for being the moderator for this evening. I want to thank the entire audience and of course, Mr. Gilby John, our technical expert who is always here. So thank you one and all. Our next program, we will listen to the topic will be dealt with from the perspective of Jainism. We have Dr. Sunita Jain speaking to us on the 22nd of October at 6 o'clock. So please mark it. So 22nd October at 6 o'clock, we will listen to this topic dealt with from the Jain point of view. So welcome all of you once again, and thank you for participating in our program. Good night. Secondly, also 1 minute, tomorrow is also the birth of the Prophet. So Eid Mubarak to Mr. Abdullah and to everyone else who has participated in this function. Good night and God bless.
Thank you.
There is a feedback form. I've sent it. Please click on and give your views regarding the speaker and your understanding of this particular process. If you can help us, we can improve in the coming sessions. Thank you very much. Good night.